$17,000. Not the value of this desk, which is far greater than that, because it's that. This. All right, so that waifu is Masuda. And he lives in Japan, Fujita, Japan, and he makes the world's greatest headphone amplifier. Verified by me, everyone who ever attended a Can Jam that this has appeared at, and all the people who have bought it. That's the I don't know, fucking start this review. I don't even know. Like, I don't know how to start a review. I don't know how to continue a review of a unit that's 17,000. Literally, this amplifier. And it's not like we go to the back. RCA input, XLR input, gain switches for the XLRs, power that goes from 100 to 240 volts, and a fuse. A relatively, honestly, meh case on the back, and then a beautifully machined champagne front in the front. Which, if we come down here, if I can get the angle just right, is a little kitty cat. Oh, cat. It's a kitty cat. And it meow, 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 and it meow, meow, meow. Now, what you're all going to be wondering is why the fuck, Zeos, do you have a headphone amplifier on your desk worth $17,000? Well, it's thanks to patrons like you. Yes, people who I've met and dealt with, and people who are in my patronage chat for $10 a month. We all get together at these headphone meets. In fact, we get the big house in California. We're all hanging out. We go to the show, and hey, what do you see? And it always came down. It started in London. I think that's when we all heard it. The Golden Sound was there. And we started fucking around. And it got to the point where after we heard the 465, which is what this is, the Mass-Kobo 465, it got to the point where we started going to booths of people we know, companies we know, and companies that can trust us. Like, I could walk to the Meze booth. All the reps know who I am. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to take this Empyrean. I'll be back. And then I would just leave, go to his booth, see him and his lovely wife. She's like an anime character. She's like a magical girl. It's wild. In fact, you could see them on both the video of me in London Can Jam, and SoCal Can Jam. So, you know I'm not bullshitting you. The desk is like this. I didn't decorate it, for this review to give you guys like an understanding. This is how it naturally progressed over the last 4 days. This unit's going to leave me. He said he could be 2 weeks. He's going to come and get it for New Year's. I haven't turned the amplifier off. I haven't ever turned it off. I've switched DACs 5 times, and I've put every one of these headphones and more through it. And when I'm done with it, I put it on the top of the table, and I just kept putting it on the table, and just kept putting it on the table. I'm like, oh, I got to try this one now. I got to try this one now. I got to try this one now. And now we have this many headphones on the table and stacks, because I realized if I use the IESL, it has a 4-pin XLR input on the back. So I was powering it with powered stacks with it. I've got a selection of IEMs, including what is specifically my favorite IEM, which are the Soft Ears Twilights on my collab cable. Which you're like, oh, it's a $300 cable, isn't it? He goes, yeah. What does that matter in the world of $17,000 headphone amps are the best thing? All right, let's... Operation. Oh, by the way, I brought the topping A90D out because I haven't listened to anything but this for 4 days. And I feel like he's fucked me real good because it started becoming normal. Hi. See? Give me a deal on an amp. I've got 2 cats, and they love me very much, don't you? You pricks. They never come and say hello. I've been coming down here and just spending hours just listening to this amplifier. And the source, while it does matter, this man decided that the topping D90 version 1 with a USB cable to hook up to your phone was how he was going to demo his $17,000 amp at Can Jam. So now here's the thing. I'm getting along the lines of okay, I think some DACs are better than others and they have different ratio. I can hear it. So I put the EF600 and I've got the VMV D2R, which is the ROM DAC going into either input, which, again, operations are power switch, which is just a big old black power switch, goes up and down. The unit itself, there's a warning that says it gets up to 185 degrees Fahrenheit or 85 degrees Celsius. For those of you who are more inclined for that, I love how those two numbers nearly match up, which it doesn't, like, it's warm. It's warm. I can keep my hand here. There's a note that says if it gets beyond that, you might want to not. And I'm like, yeah, I think I would probably call somebody. You got a green power indicator, even though every light here comes on and you can't make it go off. But there's a green one. You get the lettering is white on champagne, which is not the greatest for visibility, but it's kind of okay because I don't really want it to stand out and ruin the looks. Now, I've shown this to my patrons in the lifetime chat, my patrons in the patronage chat, and it's hit or miss, whether they love it or hate it. Like, it's got like a weird top with the holes cut out not evenly, and then like it's just steel, and then this is really nice, thick metal, and the machining down here, you could feel it. But some people hate the switches and the retro look. Someone said specifically it looks like a 1970s telephone switching box. I'm super in love with that. I fucking love that idea. Better than glass. Well, you know, this is something else, but like, I think of Samsung shit, and I think of like other electronics that I don't like them. These switches that actually just physically swap the LED over, and then listen to the click. So balanced or RCA input. I wonder if he has this in Japanese if you order in Japan. Interesting. Output gain, you get low, medium, and high. And we'll have to talk about that coming up in the video. Check the timestamps. Thank you for being patrons of mine. Because I actually don't like the amp as much as you go up in the gain stages. I think it sounds its best on low. And if you could rock it at full tilt on low, do it. A lot of times you got to switch that to medium, which covers 90% of headphones. We're looking at you, Tungsten. You are not 90% of headphones. Medium will get you through the day, and high is like only if you absolutely fucking have to, and I find it actually makes the sound a little more harsh. We're still not getting to the reason why I'm going to recommend a $17,000 headphone amplifier. Then you have your output select, which is 3 individual buttons. You get a 1/4-inch jack. You get dual XLR 3 pins, which I happen to have these adapters, and I happen to have made these wires years ago out of just patch cables that I cut in half and then put the adapters on the end of it. This one in particular is running my Mark 7 of the Eris soon-to-be collab, and oh my fucking God, it's finally here. Let's just put it this way. How much do I love my collab that's going to be coming up probably sometime in 2024 because we finally got the tuning right? Well, I burned in the headphones on this, so obviously they're the best. Yeah, strange connector, same connector they have on the reference here, so I could have put this little adapter on that gives me 4.4. And then you get your full 4-pin. I don't like unplugging it with the light on. That's a thing. One of the problems with a $17,000 headphone amplifier is I'm afraid to do fucking anything with it. All right? You throw me a $1,000 amp or something from Apos, and they're like, hey, try this. And I'm like, hey, it works. Oh, it burst into flames. And they're like, oh, well, because they know it was like a $600 unit. They had the upcharge, and they could just talk to China, and China will send them a new one. This man, there are 0 of these in stock. And Mimic, who sold it to Ali, the guy who owns this, who's coming to get it, only got 9 from him, guaranteed, ever. They sold 7 of them before August of this year. And let me tell you why this review is useless, all right? This review is fucking useless. None of the words coming out of this asshole's face, because you got to see the face, none of the words that I'm speaking are going to convince you that this is a worthwhile investment and you should spend $17,000. I guarantee you, there is no one is as good a salesman on the internet to do that. The reason that there are sold out on Mimic, the reason that you can't get them is because he sets up at a can jam and you hear it. That's it. That's the selling point. Because I go to these things all the fucking time. And usually it's like amp, DAC, the Fidelis, like the really nice Rupert Neve one. Like, oh, love that fucking thing. The design. This is all right. This is cool. This is cool. I like the cool this is, but it's not like changing the game design-wise. It's all sound. It's about taking a headphone you know and hate, like the Shure 1540s or a headphone that I just particularly do not like. I bought them because I think they're one of the best built, nicest looking, most comfortable fucking headphones. Look, they even got 1540 pads on them and carbon fucking fiber, but they're so boring until you plug them into a Mass-Kobo 465. This is, by the way, his top of the line. He has 3 others. I will try to link. I think Mimic has those as well. Which I got to hear the IEM one because Skedra fucking bought a used one for like $800, which is a miracle. And I spent 3 hours pretty much sure I was stoned out of my mind on the beach. But whatever. Point being, let me finish the front. Before we get onto the sound again, I was talking about the front. Volume knob. Big notch indicator above the pussycat with just dots around it. It's one of those like knobs that's got a smoothness that just feels Japanese to me. It's like there's a spoon. If you plunge a spoon into like a vat of honey and you turn it and it's nice and smooth, but if you try to turn it fast, it gets harder to turn. That's what that knob does. And people have complained about the knob. It's not centered in this space and it's too small. That man don't give a flying fuck what you think about the size of his knob. He's satisfied with his knob size. All right. By the way, there is a cat waifu wallpaper that I use, and you probably see it near the end. I just figured this is more appropriate. Sorry. Okay. You got the basic operation of this unit. I love this. I love the selections. I love the easy buttons. I love that it's green lights. Cool. Moving on. By the way, I have it on top of a cork thing, which I will link in the description, because I felt like my desk was unworthy of the fucking holding of this. I had to raise it up a little bit, which also made it easier to plug things in and out. Let's go to a headphone that I had the most improvement. Tungstens are you saw the review of the single-sided that came out on Christmas, because I'm assuming this is coming out after Christmas. I'm recording it before Christmas. But if you saw that, these are the double-sided. They're getting their own review. In fact, I'm going to try to get the review of these done while this is in the house. Because, yes, every headphone you see here sounds better than any time I've plugged it into any other amp ever in another thing. Except for some reason, the Moondrop Illuminations just sounded the same. And what was the other headphone that was just like... It was another headphone that was just like, I think the T60 Argons actually were powered properly. And I have to try to figure out what... I've had this argument now with people who are in the Tungsten chat and who are in the patronage chat, my supporters. This is not a slight change. All right? I go from tube amp to tube amp or solid state to solid state to, oh, this is a solid state with a ladder DAC attachment. All the changes I've had up to this fucking point have been small, little, like you have to really train your ear to pick out the nuance. This man doesn't fucking understand nuance. I don't know what he's got going on. There might be one of those, what was the things, a philosopher's stone inside of it, filled with dead people. Something that just, it's a blatant that's the word. It's not even a difference. Usually I'm all like, oh, it just sounds different. You could have like a $2,000 amp and a $200 amp, and if you plug in one to the other, if it's just different, you can just pick whichever one you like more. This is better. Every headphone I plugged into it is improved. And going back now to the A90D, I'm literally this man, look, his eyes, right in his eyes. He's like, you're going to be depressed now. Keep in mind, people have previewed this amp at can jams, which are not known for being quiet events. Usually it's really hard to assess a piece of equipment. But everyone who heard it, with any headphone you brought, including me with my, like, I just plugged in my IMs to it, there is such a grand difference of, like, smoothness and width and soundstage and presentation and naturalness. And I don't fucking grasp that there has to be a measurable difference. Like if my friend Dan was in town, which he's not going to be until the very end when I have to send this back to its owner. I imagine that if you plugged just a $3 million oscilloscope into that output for a very good, very clean amp that people respect, that is affordable, and it's not the greatest amp in the world, but certainly A90D belongs in like a top tier list. But this pushes everything in the top tier list. This pushes The Shawshank Redemption and The Godfather out of the top spots of best movies. It's not even a movie. It's a fucking headphone amp, but yet it is somehow on the top 100 IMDb movies of all time. I don't know how. But there's got to be enough of a difference between what's coming out of this piece of plastic and what's coming out of this piece of plastic, which, by the way, is just a Nutrix connector. I love this man, because you want to know the best part? Here, hold on. Ready? We're going to scroll over, because this is him in his workshop in Japan with his oscilloscopes and everything. We're going over. We're going over. Keep going. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. If I wouldn't be a son of a bitch. The man's got Yaxi pads on Sony CD900 STs. And guess what I got? Low RCA, which is the EF600. Did I pause it? Billy Joel Zanzibar. Let's just... This is what the man himself is listening to. And then you get it. These are very good headphones. They sit on my wall. And when I saw this picture, someone pointed to this picture. I was like, hey, he's got the fucking CD900 STs. And I'm like, with Yaxi pads? Oh, shit. The amount of improvement. This is and I don't believe I'm saying this. This is the most sane purchase an audiophile who's into headphones can make. This is to me, this is to the past me, this is to future me. If you've got a collection of headphones worth more than $17,000, you get a free pass from Uncle Zeos to buy this or to request it. The man ain't exactly 20, so God knows how many he's going to be able to put together in his lifetime, in your lifetime, in everyone's fucking lifetime. Also, he's got American plugs? Those American plugs? What's going on here, man? All right. I think yeah. So that was the thing. So, by the way, here's his website. There is another kitty cat on the checkout bin. Love this guy. He's got a blog that's been updated. Here is the webpage. Not joking. For this on his site. It's gray background and gray text, so it's very hard to read it. But it doesn't matter, because you can just go to Mimic to read the specs. Here's the smallest one. Right now, I think these are in stock, $17.50. I'm absolutely going to beg Mimic to send me the other 3. Because here's the big boy. It says it's in, you add it to the cart, but right below it is the whole list of the serial numbers and this. You know what? All right, ready? Ready for some shit? Total harmonic distortion plus noise. We're talking about topping stuff. We're talking about, the new drop amps. We're talking about all these things. It's always 0.00000. 0.05. That's it. 0.05%, which is, it's all right. That's solid number. It's just not impressive. And it's the best headphone amplifier on the face of the fucking earth. So yeah, here are the other. This one's $5,800. That's bargain. $2,500 for this little guy right here. The 433. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, let's minimize that. Cat Girl. That's for him. Every headphone you plug into this changes. It's like they're all wearing weighted armor. It's like your glasses are covered in mayonnaise. It's like, and all of a sudden, it's not like. The worst part, this is a worst part review. This is depression.com.org/XXX. I know when this leaves my house, this headphone and this headphone and this headphone and this headphone and this headphone, all the elites, and this headphone and this, and like specifically like the Tim socks here, which are that $2,000 planar that no one loves or respects and they're fucking great. This headphone will never, ever again sound as good as it does while that's on my fucking desk. There's the reality. People who have bought this, won't be you from this video. This is just Zeo's waving his fucking arms around, posting catgirl tits on the internet. Nobody watching this video is going to buy this. But all I need to get you to do is show up at a fucking can jam. Because as soon as you do, you bring a headphone that you love, that you think you've heard it in its best form. Oh, I've Tim Socks. I've plugged them into everything, speaker amps. I got the good DACs. I got quality fucking sources. And you plug it into this, and there is an improvement that you cannot put into words. And that's the thing. Like, there's nothing I can say to prove it. I could sound demo every headphone 3 times on a really cheap budget amp, on the best amp I thought they could run, and then the Mass-Kobo, and I don't think that would even be enough to prove the stupidity of this goddamn amp. All right? I've never gotten a product, first of all, most expensive product on the channel, that's why there's 17 gemstones in the title up here, or down here, if you're watching it. I've never gotten a product, first day, plugged it in, never turned it off, never took it off my desk, and then started the review in like a week later, 4.5 days later. Because there's nothing, I've been living and breathing Mass-Kobo 465. I've had to put these on. Let's do it. Because these are, but this needs a thing that where did the tungsten steal it? It doesn't have 4.4, so negative points. And the fact that I don't truly love it on like high gain just seems to add a little more, too much detail, too much brightness to it. If I'm gonna make the argument, where did I just put tungsten? Oh, there it is, okay. Oh, we also have to talk about this. KPH 40s, because I've always said KPH 40s scale. If you don't know what the word scale means, put this on medium gain. Oh, thank God that song ended, or I would have just had I would have started a mosh pit on my desk. Oh. I didn't know they could do that. I didn't know they could do that. I didn't know they could do that. Did you know they could do that? I didn't know they could do that. I even got the Aoun headphones here, which everyone's gonna be like, those are the Aoun headphones? Yes, they are. The On or the... I lost my train of thought. Oh, KPH 40 and scaling. I love how it answers questions I didn't ask in another room that I'm not in. Yes! Thank you for answering my fucking question. This. And I'm not using the Heart balance cable. Heart makes a balance cable for the KPH 40s. It just plugs right in. But lower that down, switch it over, unplug it, plug it in. Scaling is when a headphone sounds better and better and better the more refined the amplification. I don't want to say more expensive, because that's not always the case. Just, it could pick up when, like, HC600s love a tube amp. So you plug them into a tube amp and you hear the difference. You hear them absorb that change and bring it to you. It's great. These are great for listening to things. ZMF stuff doesn't scale much. It's usually consistently great. The original OG Empyreans don't scale much. They sound great on everything. Empyrean 2s scale. But more than the Empyrean 2s and more than the HC600s, these little fucking $40 headphones, and I'm going to be specific now because I had the Yaxi pads on my other set. This better. These are Duconi pads, black. Specifically the black ones have a denser material, and I hole punched 3 holes in the front of them. These, on this, on low gain, could sell a $17,000 headphone amp. All those audiophile, and I'm listening to the Prodigy right now, right? It's like the sound is just perfectly placed in every pixel of your brain, and it's just there's not enough coffee or drugs to explain what this does to music. Most useless review on the fucking internet. In fact, you can just upvote that comment if it's there, because it's just I plugged it into the Furman power conditioner, which happens to be plugged into a second Furman power conditioner, just because I was so fucking nervous using this beautiful monoprice hospital cable. I highly recommend it. It's the best audiophile cable around because it makes your quarks so much better. Just, there's a presence of it that when you plug everything into it, you didn't know a source could do that. And I swapped DACs, like I said, I'm on like my fifth set of DACs. I started with Gishelli Labs, and I did the socketed Gishelli Labs, and then I did the EF600, and then I did the Aries 2, and then, oh, what the hell was, there was another weird one in the middle of that, like a real cheap one, and I was like, it doesn't matter. This goes to prove that your DAC matters this much. And the amp matters, hold on, let me put that on the floor. This much. Fucking ceiling. Everything that this is doing, and it's, I could tell you power specs, but you're just gonna go fucking read it on Mimic anyway. All you gotta know is it pushes tungsten perfectly. Congratulations, you wanna power one of the best headphones ever made? All you need is $17,000. There's also other amps that power it pretty damn good. It's a fucking stack right there. It's kind of fucked that one of the $2,000 Tim Socks, one of the best experience. I don't have Sasfara here to test with. There's a couple of people requesting other things. Like, I haven't pulled my whole, look how many headphones are here, and my wall still looks full. All right, when this review ends, I got still another, well, let's see, what's today, the 16th, 17th, 18th? It's like the 18th or 19th. So I got another 10 days with this thing, 10, 12 days with this thing. Review now. For 12 more days, I'm going to be obsessing over this fucking amplifier. Because it deserves an obsession. It actually, I've been like sitting here going, well, if I sell a few headphones, a few key expensive headphones, that'll take a big chunk off the cost of this, and I can get my name in there and do a pre-order. And I was going to take the top off of it because it's only 6 screws. But I had the proper amount of fucking pause. So I'm like, all right, let me ask the owner who bought it. And he's like, well, why don't you ask the retailer Mimic, who I bought it from? And they're like, let me ask Matsuda, and we'll see what he says. And you know what? I didn't take the top off. You don't need to know anything about this. He actually glues the board, like the board that does the actual thing, the mono, he completely epoxies it so you can't fuck with it. So nothing will move, and you can't see what he's done. Apparently, the parts in this are so rare that he has to just stop production and wait for the parts to come back around. I don't even know what parts he's talking about. This is this is the most human being fucking amp in existence. Like, this is one man doing this, and utmost respect. As a weeb in general and mild otaku, I don't want to have the Japanese banking system come to America. Fuck that. This thing, and I think I could even tell you it's worth $17,000 for this reason. He's making so few of them that it's not like he's like, oh, I'm a big company, I'm going to charge whatever I want. He's hand making all of these. Hand making by himself or with maybe 1 or 2 assistants. I don't actually know what the structure is, but he's not like the Mass-Kobo Corporation. So if you're hand making something and it takes you weeks to put one together, your life has to be supported by the sale of one thing for a while. So in that case, this sort of makes sense. Because you know, if Mimic's selling it for $17,000, they're getting it for slightly less than that, so they could do the upcharge on it. That's how retailing works. But the rest of it is going straight to him, and he's taking chunks of that to buy the parts for the next one. If Zeos the motherfuck Pantera decided to build a headphone amp, and it took me a month each, I had to pay all my bills, feed my cats, all my travel, all my insurance, all my other insurance of being a business, fucking medical. All that would have to be covered by the cost of this one amplifier. It'd be a $22,000 amplifier. So the fact that he's able to push out more than one a month and some other ones that are out there and live in Japan, where I'm sure it isn't cheap, I think $17,000 is not fucking bad. Lord knows I wouldn't. Do you remember the speech I gave for the LCD-X? It was one of the most expensive headphones I had done at the time. It was years and years ago. Only the old school fucking Z-Files will remember that review. I made the argument that if you buy a giant television for the Super Bowl and you spend $2,000 on it, no one says anything. You just buy a replacement range for your kitchen. It was $3,500 for a stainless steel, Bosch range for the kitchen and grill. Oh, it looks beautiful. I love it. I love the house. New marble countertops, $5, $6, $7 grand. And then it was, well, I listened to these $1,500 headphones and everybody loses their mind because normal people can't fathom that expenditure. Well, even fucking crazy audiophiles hear $17,000 for an amp and we start losing our fucking minds. But there are people, and I know them, and they're patrons of mine, God bless their souls, who have more invested in this hobby than I do. Like, under their desks at work. Literally, you'll know what I'm talking about if you're in that chat. So this is just a fart in the wind. This, at least you can get this much out of this. Zeos approves of this fucking thing. I have just one word of advice. If you can afford it, go listen to it. If you can't afford it, you'll never miss what you've never heard. Just walk right fucking past it at CanJam. Just right past it. Just right past it. It's fun to go to a show and see some 10 out of 10s do some things with each other. But there's always going to be hope that you could, win the lottery or sell a car or have a rich family member die. Maybe accidentally. I don't know. You can't prove they died on natural causes. And maybe you have the money to just fucking flop down on the world's greatest headphone amplifier. But if you don't, and you're a sensible person, just don't. Just don't. You can't miss what you've never heard. Anyway, I'm going to, the owner of this, who bought the Wah 23 as well, wants me to preamp this with that. And I think he's actually going to be pretty unimpressed by it. Because I found that the more rigidly neutral the DAC, the more you hear the good that this is doing. You don't need to fuck with the signal source for this. Because it's going to do wild shit. Now, keep in mind, my playlist is also still mostly 1644. I have some DSD to test with, and it doesn't matter. YouTube videos through $40 headphones are greatly improved through the sound of this. Right? It's one of those boxes that's actually filled with magic instead of it's filled with magic. No, it's actually. This song is terrible. This is from the Ruby OST. It just worst recording quality of all time. Sounds amazing. Sounds fucking amazing. Best I've heard it on a headphone ever. On this headphone for no reason. I'm done. Link to CD900. I'll link to a couple of choice ones here. The Elite sounded fantastic, fucking amazing on it. The stacks were a mild improvement, but it's also this box is crunching the signal down to make it do a thing. My collab is just, I can't tell you until it comes out, and then you're gonna find out on your own. 109s were just okay. 109s are very hard to improve upon with a source. You know this. If you've owned them or tried them, 109s sound fucking great on everything. And that continues across the Mass-Kobo. But things like the Neumanns, I had my NDH 20s and 30s on it. Yes. Fucking yes. Fucking Empyrean 2 repaired mod. Yes. I gotta go now. I gotta go. Enjoy your cat girl wallpaper. I don't think Mass-Kobo will be in the download link in the description, but maybe he will be. Maybe Mass-Kobo will be down there. Links to this thing. I think I could link it a couple places. A couple headphones. No desk mat, because what the fuck would be good of that if I brought it out? Oh, I also brought out the $2,200 lecture cadenzas on the $1,000 effect audio cable, just in case. And they're still pretty good. They're still pretty good, because those are 8 ohm IEMs, which is weird. Anyway, wallpaper available in the Wallpaper Horde. Patreon and Subscribe Star. Support this channel, but don't support it enough for me to just go out and buy a Mass-Kobo. So please feel free to join that. And I probably still couldn't bring myself to rationally. Do you realize this costs more than both the cars I own? I paid $15,000 for my Caprice, which was a 2012 in 2015. All right? I bought a fucking 3-year-old car with 300 horsepower at the time. I spent $15,000. I spent $13,500 on my Tacoma. This is more money than both my fucking cars. But it will get more use because I work from home. So there you go. It's rationality for you. Patreon, subscribe, start, support this channel. See reviews early. Participate in yard sales 1st to the 10th of every month. I ship free United States and Canada. Half shipping internationally. Sound demos. I promise you there'll be at least one sound demo with the Mass-Kobo. In fact, I might just make a Mass-Kobo sound demo where I compare it directly to this using the switchbox or maybe direct plugging. I kind of have to, don't I? If I have time before I have to give it up, I'll do that. So yeah, sound demos, all previous ones and new ones are all available only to Patreon and Subscribe Star supporters at the $5 a month tier. $10 a month, private behind-the-scenes Telegram chat where you could ask me questions directly, where the owner of this used to be, he hadn't joined back up, but he's in the lifetime chat, so it's a whole thing. If you support me long enough, you end up in a lifetime chat. But for all you people who are brand new supporters at $10 a month, ask me questions directly, and all the other things below it. And then you get into a lifetime swap meet channel where you can try to sell $18,000 worth of gear so that you can buy one of these. So you get into that for life if you're in there. And it's a private little group of over 370 people. And yeah, all the wallpapers in the Wallpaper Horde download, which is a giant torrent protocol thing that makes them go because I can't trust YouTube. And yeah, no, that's good. Thank you to Ali for trusting me to have this. Trust me, carrying this down the stairs like this was like... Newborn babies are easier to carry. You can just drop those things and they heal. This will not heal. This won't heal. And well, see you in the next one. Hopefully it'll be a more bargain item. Where's my fucking mute? Holy gods, what a relief that is. Anyway, review's over, and I just wanted to say one last thing. You're like, Zeos, are you going to get one to do reviews with it? And I can't. Not that I can't afford it. If I sold half this shit, I could afford it, but... no one on earth is going to have one of these. And since it makes every headphone or IM you plug into it sound better than it actually is, useless for Z reviews. I need normal amps that normal people can get. Because we're a normal channel here. We're fucking normal.